wide. Gonna take that fight towards him, but smoke into your face, Valen. Has to really just try and get a move on. Now he's onto the side. It's an off-angle play from him, but still player advantage. And the paranoia is beautiful. Splits them up with just the right amount of time, but no way! Valen!
What a beast! What a play there! But what a fumble! Too cautious from Fnatic, I think. Talked about the fact that they love playing to give their opponents respect and play the advantage in the retake. But the paranoia pushed Valen off onto an off angle and they just weren't there ready for the trade. It was only Chronicle that swung through off Alpha's contact and he only had about 6 health to work with. Fnatic lose a really important eco swing round here. And now the ult cycle is going to start to get online for G2. Assuming they can clean up an anti-eco, Fnatic might have just lost control of this defense half early on.
Into the swinging. Just off the back of the heroics of the captain of G2. Two of our greatest minds in the game facing off against each other.
Feels like a battle of the generations when it comes to the IGLs as well. Valen, bit of a new kid on the block compared to the experience of Boaster, but he's been fantastic, and Boaster caught out in the open again. That's twice already in the very first quarter of this map.
It's not full steam ahead from G2. There's still a level of caution. Fnatic are stacking this with a multitude of bodies. It is the eco round.
Yeah, I think the read here from Valen is perfect.
Be careful here with a Marshall in the hands of Alpha. That's snappy. Quick scope straight to the head. He is taken care of, though. Chronicle's still trying to at least square up, take a fight, posturing ever so slightly. He's taking it with the off-angle play. Crashies is highlighted, lit up. There's no more. So G2 taking the lead early on here in Lotus.
That damage from Alpha, yeah, with the Marshall. It looks like Fnatic are going to need some more moments like that. What Alpha's been able to do recently in their games has been spectacular. And those are the danger moments that you need to be able to add in there. But otherwise, G2 dealt with that really quite cleanly, even though they went into the stack in the end. And here's the ults that we were talking about. But Fnatic, by saving, have managed to get Kayak an operator in his hands. Looking to try to get him posted up over towards A. That's where the Odin is as well. And only Alpha defending here on C. Pushed off immediately.
Salvo's had to push off the early line. Doors opened up. Hello, Lee. Might get an early fight sooner than he potentially anticipates. He's going to play his life, try and back the hell out of there. Trent over the shoulder, that bait and switch.
Crashies, I think, made the call to fight with Boaster and didn't realize that Leaf also had backup. In came Trent. And down went the IGL again of Fnatic, who's having a rough go of things here. They still have the lockdown to try to play retake in one of these areas, and Chronicle could actually pit off some level of contact. But it's difficult to get value out of the pit here in the mid-round when Jorgamo still has his dimensional drift to clear everything. But here it goes.
Yeah, using it nice and early. Just trying to spot out the most of these players. Don't know if he's spotted it off. Yes, Kayak. Time to strike. Choose it well. Chronicle. It's instinctual. The wall was up. Just anticipating G2's positioning. It's G2 who are left with that player disadvantage.
And massive ultimates dropped on the side of G2. They can no longer set up a pit of their own in the post plan. So if G2 want to win this round, it's got to be proactive. I think Fnatic, they know it. Crashies and Kayak are waiting for this push.
Palace sees it. Jorgamo's going to be backing away. Reclaiming the space now. There's an I4. Trying to lay claim to a lot of this towards it, but there's that up angle. A whiff from Kayak with how he's been playing. K damage kicking in. Get a TP. Valen's barely out of there. Trying to play the crossfire setup. Chronicle wins this fight out, and that's going to be locked down to secure. Fnatic have all the advantages here. Everything in the world going their way.
And an investment of the ultimate just to make sure, just to absolutely guarantee that Fnatic are able to tie things up. It's a big recovery in this round from Fnatic. If they'd lost here in the 4v5, would have been a disaster. But Kayak gets good value out of his op, and honestly, the way that G2 were utilizing the Yoru ult, Fnatic read the timings, and they just knew that people were going to start pushing up off the back of it. Chronicle has got great reads on that kind of stuff. He's been around the block. One of our most experienced and one of the greatest players of all time. You look at accomplishments,
The accolades, man.
He's already got 3 trophies. If Fnatic can somehow pull off this lower bracket run, he will just be out miles ahead of everybody else with 4.
Making a serious case for one of the greatest of all time. G2 feeling pressured into the timeout here.
And I think there's been a pretty serious shift in Fnatic's defense now that they've got the operator online. They are still finding holes over towards A early on, but what G2 are struggling with is being able to take the site without getting caught by one of the Fnatic players who's just trying to get one and back up. It's not like Fnatic are trying to defend the sites to the death, but they're just trying to grab one G2 player and then back it up and always force G2 to be the ones that have to overextend and overfight to get the space and get the plant. Take a look and see what the adjustments are coming out of this tag timeout. Kayak earned his showstopper in the previous, so he can take more aggressive positions with the op, because if you get caught, pull out the ult, and you can often stop yourself from getting punished. So he's actually going to go maybe for a solo peek over towards B, which is
looks like it.
Properly aggressive. Oh no, backs it up early on. Just listening for audio cues.
A lot of presence though from G2. Prowler and a flash through the front of B, and that's triggered at least the ult, and it's a bait and switch setup. Jogamo at the gate crash, could exit.
That's beautiful. Ult baited out immediately. Perfect value there coming from the Yoru. And now Valen's got an opportunity to reset the troops and figure out in which direction G2 would like to end. Another single salvo to try to push Alpha away. They know that Alpha loves to play this angle. We've seen people even pick up attack side ops to try to punish that.
Alpha feeling the heat, and he might be tested soon, but instead G2 go in a different direction. Doors opened up. B is called for. There's lots of ults to try and help supplement this one here. We'll see how to get used of the util. Sees is excellent. Crashes. He's locked G2 down.
Jog teleported into it.
TP'd past. Boaster is here, laying in wait with the Odin up through the high ground. Attempt there made. Chronicle just the one before the trade is in sight. Now with that pit, he's going to be laying down towards it. Armageddon on top of it. Clearing out a lot of the extremities. G2 trying to hold on.
Alpha on the flank could be pivotal here. Trent, he knows that he's going to try to take the timing, calls for backup, and now realizes Alpha hasn't committed.
P? Just gone down there. I'm not sure if these are just stray shots coming through. Alpha.
Perfect trade.
Just the one traded instantly. Now the drone and a connection spots him out, highlighting across the board. Leaf is going to back away, trying to play his life. Sliders of corners, snaps towards it. Leaf! Ridiculous!
Perfect reads inside the pit there for a player who's well within the race for tournament MVP. Look at how tight the timing is on that one. Jorg just escaping with absolutely no damage done. Crazy kill on Jonah P there too. But what I like from G2 is that they were hyper aware of the threat of Alpha here on the flank. Alpha is going to be playing C aggressively, and when he opens that door, Trent and Valen doubled up to deal with him. You've got to put 2 guys on Alpha at all times, and even then, Finesse will tell you it doesn't always work.
Yeah. Alpha perfectly capable of taking over. We've seen it, especially in their prior game. Risky setup here, but necessary. It's a half-buy round for them. That is sharp. Over towards the mound, though. This is about to be a bloodbath that's occurring, and it's all going away. Surely a Fnatic gets evened out into a 2v2.
Leaf, though, he caught the perfect kill on Boaster on the other side of things, and now it's all on Kayak with only a Bucky. I mean, he's just begging Valen to walk into him. If he doesn't, how is he going to take the kill?
Scurry of the footsteps. Valen is hyper aware.
And at that kind of range, Kayak, unfortunately, as good as he is, doesn't particularly have a chance. We were talking about how dangerous Alpha can be, and that setup over towards Mound almost found Fnatic a turn of the fates. The shots were good, but the weaponry, I don't think was quite up to scratch. And once again, actually, this kill, where Leaf is able to pick up Boaster, and Boaster's kind of, you know, inside his smoke again, getting caught.
Boaster's throwing a smoke in the middle.
Yeah, and I think that is actually a bit of a recurring problem that we're seeing here, is that Boaster's frequently getting caught out. He's 2-6 right now, but it's not necessarily about the scoreboard. He could be playing, you know, those kind of numbers and be playing a great game, frankly. But at the moment, he's trying to hold important positions on defense and getting caught out by unexpected timings. And I think that's going to have to tighten up if Fnatic want a chance of being able to win the rest of these rounds on their defense half at least.
A timeout taken for Fnatic to recoup. See if they can dig deep. It's only a 2-round lead so far for G2.
It's well within the realms of being able to recover, but when you say it's a 2-round lead, Fnatic also won the pistol here.
Yeah.
So, you know, out of the other 6 rounds that we've seen, when rifles have started getting on board, G2 have been very consistent. And this time, no operator in the hands of Fnatic. They don't have the wealth to be able to put that into Kayak's hands. And once more set up to go for some kind of B split attempt. The spike headed up here and a potential for a wrap through Blue Room.
Potential for a brawl as Fnatic is stacking 3 bodies. Trying to retake some of that rubble control away from where Leaf has just been lurking.
Leaf, he kind of needs to kill that Prowler to create the threat that he could still lurk.
And there's a pop in play. They want to try and get a move on here. This is G2. Trying to see if they can lay claim to that B site. Still rain down a hail of bullets. That's just from Boaster. He's going to be supplementing the fire, just trying to make it nice and awkward for G2 while a flank occurs.
Do they have enough people to be able to deal with Chronicle? There is massive pressure on Leaf right now.
Tested. Only just a 1. This is Fnatic now. This is their time to shine. They've got a lot of control now towards B main. Flip at the site though. G2 looking to try and take this one up through heaven and a reflank of Valen, but time needs to be played. It's already ticking away, and it's up to Trent to see if he can delay, but smoke in your face, what really can you do from this spot? Timing is taken into a 2v2. They've got to know where these players are. To smoke, obfuscates, hides the intent. And Kayak, he's there swinging through, seals it up nice and pretty for Fnatic.
Bit of a strange situation there towards the end. A couple of the G2 players left in the clutch, and it almost looked like they didn't know where the plant was. A B pop. Alpha swings through, but it's this flank play that made the difference. In previous rounds, Leaf has been escorted into rubble at the start of this round. He got pushed out immediately. He got caught by a Horn, Prowler, and that gave Fnatic the confidence to be able to double push fully out through A and get the rat play working. The more they can get the read on that, the more they can actually figure out exactly where Leaf is on the map, the better their defense half is going to look. And they've knocked G2 down onto a light buy, but this squad is diabolical with the Stingers.
They certainly are. Alpha.
He's so far up.
Oh, really far up. It's going to be a Paranoid blinded up, and there's already players just on your tail, just trying to hunt you down, Jorgamo. It's close quarters. It is carnage of what's occurring. Alpha decayed. Caught up into the corner from the seas, and Valen was very quick, able to take up most of that space. The pit has to be vacated. It's a wasted ult from Chronicle.
Snakebite easily could have claimed a couple of lives there, though everybody on G2 was weak, but that was chaos. Alpha, with the wrong read of what was happening, they thought it was going to be an A-side default again, and G2 have found an opportunity to pick up a couple of weapons and slow things down a little. It's looking more even now.
Lug smoke from G2. Praying that Fnatic would go for some form of re-exploration, clearing up the map.
And I think this is a really important situation where you've got to look at Boaster again. He's going to be doing this jump spot. He's been caught out in positions like this, throwing smokes a couple of times. He's got to make sure that he maintains this information.
30 seconds left.
He's gone forwards. Trust the advantage, he's got a read, and it is a good one. The solo player, Trent, just trying to condition with that drone. There's the punish, Kayak towards the back. Alongside Chronicle is a stalwart defense. The lock and key here, there's only one left to stand against the Jonah P. It's messy, it's scrappy, but Fnatic are even.
And I think it deserved pop-off there from Boaster, because it's something that he struggled with a little bit so far in this defense half, but he played that situation beautifully, didn't he? Had the read that it was going to be a fake, stepped forwards rather than backwards, managed to get the timing on the drone, and catches Trent as well. So not only does he get the kill, he feeds full info to the rest of his team. Guys, this is going to be a C re-hit. 100% this A pressure is fake. And this is now an even half, 5-5. With arguably better ultimates here for Fnatic to close out on defense.
Door's going to be opened up. This is G2. Attempting a bit of that slow siege.
That is so much damage onto Jorgamo there as well.
Down to 61.
I think he would have been aiming to pick up an orb in this round, see if he could get the Ultimate Online. 4 players from Fnatic over here doing a re-clear, full re-clear of Rubble.
A lot of utility. You see that Paranoid, you see the Haunt.
Could be the timing to try to activate somebody like Leaf on the other side of the map, but Alpha's waiting, and here's...
Just as the turret gets broken, Kayak is looking for more, he's stunned up and misses it! Trent just cleans him up!
That's amazing from Jorg and Trent!
All on Boaster now though, feeling the heat. It's a Paranoia in your face, near-sighted. Plenty of bodies about to be coming towards you. 9-4 avoided, Chronicle. Again, the spam over the shoulder. Curtain raised up. Wall of his own, just trying to stunt it. G2 though, not to be dismayed, trying to get a bit of a move on, trying to claim that A site. Moving forwards, that game of time, it's Chronicle. It's the better of the adversary.
He's been really good so far, Chronicle, a pillar for his team to rely on. And G2, they feel like they have to be the ones making the play. Health disadvantage is so huge, but look at the wrap. Look at Alpha, yeah, already aware of the possibility.
Yeah, this lockdown, drop down should be sealing all of this one up, except Alpha oversteps himself, and the lockdown's going to be broke down regardless. Chronicle layers down that snake bite, and now there's a timing to be taken. Fnatic getting a run on, getting a scurry on. It's being stuck to half, heads are popped. Chronicle dismissed entirely.
Another round for Valen where he comes through in the clutch, and my God, what a call as well. Dismantling Kayak's ult. Oh, it landed on the pillar too. Tragic the way that splash worked, but it's the final call, this double wrap up through heaven and around behind onto Alpha. Alpha decides to swing aggro on a timing, thinking that it'll catch them off guard, and maybe doesn't account for the fact that they're both going for the flank. And the fact it was planted for heaven as well, it's a really nice way to play that situation.
One last chance in this half though for Fnatic to try and draw it level. Jorgamo sending it flying forwards here with a dimensional drift. I made this feel like a lot of A pressure, and there are bodies behind it. G2 are looking to at least take this space. Doors are open wide. Paranoia already expended. Most is going to be using it. This is Anarchy. Crashes to leave from behind. What a good work put in though, and now it's up to Boaster to do the rest. Odin in hand, obliterating G2.
Incredibly aggressive swing there from Jorgamo.
Forwards, no committal. Boaster just looking for that information, and the timing potentially is here for Trent.
Alpha, yeah, worried that he's getting flanked from B main, even though the turret is actually watching it. So I think Alpha probably could have just stayed over here. But Chronicle is tightening the net at all times.
Toxins going up.
Putting a squeeze on him now. Already revealed to the side there. Chronicle, easy cleanup, 6-2-6 at the half.
A strong recovery in this half from Fnatic after it looked like G2 were running away with things. Big round from Crashies as well in round 12, as Jorg was hunting him down from behind. I think this implies we've got a great game on our hands with how even things have started here on Lotus.
Yeah, competitive between these two juggernaut teams. All the way through, 6-2-6. Could not ask for a better start to the series overall.
Pretty good. Give us 6 though.
Unreal
Nice.
stuff. We're going to send it down to the floor. Vansili is standing by with G2 Hammy.
Thank you so much, Brent. I'm joined back on the floor by G2's own Arabian Stallion, Hammy. Hammy, how has Toronto been treating you so far?
Honestly, Toronto's been amazing. The people here are amazing, and just like, yeah, overall great.
What about the event? You were telling me you were walking around the venue the whole time, checking out the activations and everything. How's the experience right here in Masters Toronto?
The experience is amazing. I mean, like I said, the people here in general, they're just like lovely to meet and all that, but yeah.
That's us, man. That's Canadian.
It's good.
We just love hugs.
Yeah, I do.
Let's get back in the game, though, and talk about G2, because you're basically the honorary sixth man for G2. Talk me through the Teho from Trent. Why is he bringing it back?
Okay, I mean, I feel like Trent gets too much disrespect. He doesn't need Teho. It doesn't matter who he's playing, he's the best initiator I've ever seen play the game. But yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I just wanted to hear it from your words as well. And also tell me why G2's in the golden era and why are they going to win this series against Fnatic?
Yes, we'll be winning this series. Not only this series, but we'll be winning the entirety of Masters, I think.
Oh, the whole Masters.
We will be winning Masters, yes.
Okay, and so Wolves coming up next. You think they're going to have this easy against Sufat Baby and crew?
Yeah.
Okay, and last but not least, I want you to give encouraging words to the G2 players playing up there and also to your fans around the world.
Okay, honestly, G2 doesn't even need it. They're going to win. But I hope everyone's doing good. I mean, that's all. I don't know what else to say. But yeah, I love you guys.
You got it all. Hammy, thank you so much for your time. Let's toss it back to the game.
Two teams here that are just neck and neck, and honestly, even just looking at the map pool itself, we have our opener of Lotus. An interesting one. Listen, the desk was kind of talking about it when it came up as well, because it's a great map for Fnatic. It's one of the ones that they have been lights out on all year.
Yeah, it's at the top of both teams' map pools, and I think you really get the clash between both of the callers. Opposite sides of the spectrum, actually, in terms of results. You can see reflected in the Coinbase Econ report. Chronicle having an amazing half. Boaster struggling a little bit. Valens at the top of the scoreboard, actually, if you're just looking at kills as well. But I think more than productivity, it's going to be the game plans that are going to make the difference here in half number 2. I mean, when I've been looking at these teams, G2, they play for retake a ton. They're on their defense half. They've been winning almost 40% of them. Fnatic are winning post plants 83% of the time. One of those stats has got to give today. Is it going to be Fnatic closing out these rounds cleanly?
Clash of those styles. Leaping into the fray across for that info. Leaf break the Prowler, back himself out, and it is slow and steady for Fnatic.
They are the slowest team on the attack side that we have, but they're extremely diligent with it. They use the time to make sure that they dismantle trap plays. And yeah, it can get tense towards the end. The clock can sometimes be Boaster's worst enemy. But Alpha, yeah, Alpha might be his best friend.
What an opener for Fnatic.
I mean, that should be signed, sealed, and delivered on the pistol round. Fnatic with a potential here, a great opportunity to win both pistols on this map. And that can make all the difference in spots like this where both teams are good. Jorg might be going for a bit of a re-exploration over towards B as well. He's just trying to backfill this space, but it's all on Valen to defend here with one Paranoia. Are they pivoting into B? Actually, maybe Jorg will get his chance.
They might do. They're going to try and go for the B here. There's only 25 seconds left, Fnatic. What is the call? Bit of a scramble, but they're going to land over towards A. No one really there to meet them. Valen might take a few risks of his own out towards the blue room, and this is all covered in time. Kayak is there. Cutting down his two players. It's a pistol round in the back pocket here for Fnatic, and like you said, it could make all the difference in a map like this.
Powers out.
Absolutely flawless. I mean, the damage from the first hit, collating through onto Jonah P. And then how clean Kayak looks with these shots coming out from his ghost afterwards.
Nice! That's it.
It's a beautiful round. It's clean, it's sharp.
Whoever it was.
I mean, it's Kayak. I think you should probably give credit to your newest player. It's going to be tough for G2 to recover from this kind of situation. You will sometimes see them force, even on defense, but this is not one of those times. G2 just playing for money in the bank. Another really important thing to pay attention to between these two teams is who has more of the utility once we get into post-plant scenarios. In the previous round, hello.
Yeah, they're going to be gearing up. It's a Paranoia in the back pocket.
Here.
Primed by Valen, looking for signs of life at the spam. Surely that's it, but they're actually waiting for a little bit further. There it is. Now the go button's going to be called for, but that Paranoia did not connect. Chronicle. Unbelievable form. And Alpha on clean-up duty.
Hyper confident, pushing through. Just allowing the players on Fnatic to build up more and more towards those ultimates. Players getting streaks and Jorg trying to get cleaned up.
It's nice for the class to give it a damage, surely, but the round nevertheless here to Fnatic. Chronicle is 19 and 10 right now.
He's been amazing. He's just been so calm. And like I said earlier, he's been a rock that the rest of the team can rely on in these difficult positions. He's not making the play to change the round necessarily, but when G2 force the aggression into him, he just collects it and absorbs it perfectly. You can't get past him. So Fnatic with a bonus round, but a bonus round that they've also forced an attacking operator into.
Punish Leaf, he's been peeking this one often. The defensive setups differ, though. G2 making changes to it. Quick dink there through Mound. There needs to be some call for help. Shot wide and through. Leaf is on essentially single digits. Barely alive. Region Armor eventually going to be kicking in.
Both teams getting a read on what's going on here. Fnatic realizing they're fighting super heavy over Mound and trying to react into A and realize they got caught by the drone there. Decide to hold on for a moment. But G2 also got the read that there's an attacking op, so they'll have to be hyper aware of areas that Alpha's going to try to peek.
Door opened up here by Chronicle. Bit of fake pressure, trying to pull some of these G2 players. Done so successfully.
Yeah, it's really nice. It pulls all of the attention from the defenders towards the door and frees up this re-exploration towards Mound. This was the area, remember, that G2 were fighting over, so it's likely they would have left.
Second thoughts here for Fnatic, looking like they wanted to end over towards C, but despite now, making its way over towards A.
Maybe overthinking it just a tad here, overcooking.
30 seconds left.
30 seconds left.
Jorgamo not budging. Leaf even just lying in wait.
There's 4 players defending this area of the map.
Yeah.
Are they pivoting B and trying to connect with these guys through the door?
Maybe. Door's broken. No clearance onto the corner. Alpha has his back. Not on my watch is what he's saying. That attack side operator, but time is still becoming a bit of an issue. And shots are rattled. You can feel it. It's getting hectic. It's getting messy. Trent cleaning up onto Chronicle. Time is against them now. It's fully against this Fnatic squad. And G2, they make the call. Not sure who it was, but to stack the bodies in the final moment there over towards A.
They almost got punished for it as well, though, Brent. That round is on a nice edge. You see Chronicle come through from tree, and he's got players running away from him. I mean, the fact that Leaf also gets caught in this situation, the Guardian barrel just sticking out slightly, but it's this kill, Trent on Chronicle, that I think really changes the game, because G2 then can commit fully to the retake and the flood. And Josh is begging them to play time at the end there because there was no opportunity for a plant.
Very fast play to be made. That operator picked up into the hands of Leaf now. Punches Kayak.
Yeah, I think it's a great call to go for the defensive op for Leaf because they know that Leaf is going to be on this line. They're trying to punish him with marshals, with attack ops. And if he's got a long-range weapon of his own, he can hold it down.
He's got to be careful here. Spots the body. How do you want to play this one? Backs himself into a corner.
He does have a little bit of support from Jonah P.
Poison's off.
And one of the things that this G2 comp is really good at is being able to passively regain information in the mid-round from the Taeho drone, from the Prowlers, from the Haunt. They have used all of those now, though, and only Jonah P's Haunt will be coming back later on.
Here.
Chronicle just sticking around to try to break that and make it feel like they could be going for a C re-hit. There's the Haunt, though. Chronicle breaks it. But the shot comes from so far back that G2 already have the read anyway.
Balance going to be seeing signs of life definitely occurring now.
Cover going out.
A long con here for Fnatic, just trying to earn up a few of those ults. Really working the map in the process, and they found
30
themselves
seconds left.
a slight gap in towards B.
Fnatic have been ending with these B splits a ton. I think G2 are fairly ready for this. Jonah and Jorg.
Jonah sat down onto the side here, spots it, catching the contact, a bit of spam as well. Comes through, this is Alpha and Chronicle. Laying claim over towards this site. Onto B in the plant now to go
10
down,
seconds
nothing to push
left.
this away.
Crashes managed to upgrade to a Vandal. Can he strike a dagger blow back to his own region?
Huge upgrades. Stun. Has to be sidestep Leaf. Just snaps at the crash. He's an off angle by Chronicle, baiting out with the first shot. Now you're going to see that discipline coming through. G2 never without it, and it has brought it level 8-8.
Both teams playing that round pretty well, honestly. Just at the end of the day, a weapon difference. That's a sick kill, though, from Leaf. You can see that Kayak, he knows exactly how Leaf wants to play it, and Leaf is still just daring him to come and challenge. Fnatic have a lockdown to try to work with here. Difficult to counter. But G2 pretty happy playing the retakes as well. Stacking 3 bodies over towards Mound, expecting Fnatic to go for a punish of Leaf.
And Leaf is holding it. They want it to feel like it's just Leaf with a bit of solo pressure. Way ahead of this one. Still, they're going to reveal their hands. So rifle shots ring out. Even trying to see if he can punish somebody going for that jump spot, but Hort's out into the open, counter spam. It's Kayak trying to get the punish online, but
He was believing in the Haunt maybe a little bit too much, just stood into that Omen one-way, got caught. Feels like G2 have been winning a lot of these opening duels.
Toxins going up.
drone's going to be expended for the re-clearing walls on walls.
And because Fnatic keep losing this fight over towards Mount, G2 can stack 2 bodies B, 2 bodies A and be pretty happy no matter where Boaster calls the team to end.
Tight to the corner, Jorgamo has the escape policy.
Alpha detected over here by the Haunt.
Just trying to spam where he might expect it to be, following the traces. Well, still going to be alive for now, 41 health.
And in a 3v5 like this, you don't really want to invest the ultimates from Alpha Air and Crashies unless they can find a pick beforehand.
30 seconds left.
But look at the time. This is one of the problems with how slow Fnatic play. You get into spots like this where you're down and you're not really in a position where you can even make a play to turn the round. This is just going to be a save that waiting out the clock, and it's not a high energy way to end a round.
No.
It feels, I've got to
10
imagine, a
seconds
bit
left.
brutal to have to give up in spots like this, especially because it allows G2 to then put pedal to the metal and try to punish. And that is such a punish. Looked like Leaf was just running the operator in to its doom.
To his demise, though. 2 rifles intact for Fnatic, and that was the goal of it. But you're right, it's a low energy way to end the round, to think about what's coming next.
Yeah, there's that moment one-way finding value. George just spots Kayak, who's trying to get value from the Haunt. Like, you can see what Kayak's going for,
Gun here.
but it's difficult amount. And Fnatic are going to take a tack timeout here. I think it's desperately needed. They've won both pistols in this map. G2 didn't respond with a force at all, and yet they're still behind 8-9. And they did do a good job of getting back into the map in their defense half. Here on the attack side, though, I think one of the largest problems is they're never actually pushing G2 away from Mount.
Yeah.
And if you don't have Mount control, if Leaf is always getting information over there, why would they ever want more than one person on C? And that makes it way harder for Boaster to call. Might be time to change the tempo around coming out of this tack timeout. Fnatic, they do have some fast rounds in the bank. They're not a team that do it very often. But running something a little quicker might just add that shift up that you need to be able to get back into the game.
Scrap together a buy. It's a bit rough. Boaster's going to be left with just a stinger, but you're right, a tempo increase could be what they ordered.
Doesn't look like it though, does it? I mean, looks
pretty
like they're going
spread.
to try to play for a little bit of rubble control. I mean, maybe the coach is telling them to take the shift into fighting for A control instead of Mount at the start of the round.
Trying to take this one, overwhelming with the bodies in the util. Setting Valen up onto rubble. He is revealed towards the tail end there by their own Haunt, so Fnatic get the information.
And I do like this smoke that Boaster goes for over towards rubble, but it's just been cleared immediately by the salvo. And G2 weren't really worried about it.
Change the stray shots.
Leaf has actually been pushed back this time though.
Yeah.
Not too much contestation, and a nice smoke from Boaster just right on top of Leaf's face. And suddenly, G2 don't have the same level of information over towards C, but they're still playing C soft for retake and stacking bodies on A, expecting this re-clear, and they are so right.
Who's catching the play though? Strength, jump spotting, potentially sees it, Valen unaware. Trying to get a move on, trying to get a runaway. Kayak! Just obliterating the opposition. It's up to Jonah P to pick up those pieces. See if he can make a little bit more from it. What's going to be fainting? Getting a bit of a run on. It's
No way.
Catch the timing. There's no way. There's no way at all! It's shut down by Alpha. Safe pair of hands. Jorgamo
Spike planted.
in his hands, trying to go for it. Flick of the wrist does not connect. A way to exit other than having his ult, but committing it in this spot in the 2v4, not wise.
No, he's
Article
still,
even getting a wrap around.
he's still going to be able to afford an op in the next round anyway, so
Last player standing.
when
Taking
Joel
the
gets
beat.
caught. Fnatic getting up to 9 here, but I think really you've got to be looking at how G2 executed in some of those moments. They had the right read. They knew that it was going to be an A re-clear, but they didn't have somebody taking contact well enough for Valen to play off this. Kayak snuck all the way back in off the back of Chronicle's Viper Wall. And then I think you could argue the execution here wasn't great either. Jonah finds the timing, utilizing the fact they're on land. It's difficult to hear these kind of footsteps, but he can't land the shot. And Alpha shuts it down. Alpha once more is going to go for the attack side operator here. Taking a peek. Seeing if he can punish a jump spot on A.
Same explosion of util from G2 looking to take control towards A rubble. Post players up.
This smoke is a really nice adaptation. Coming out of the tactical timeout, it really has neutralized Leaf and allowed them to regain mount control. I mean, look what it's done. You got the pull from one of the rotates. You've also got this gate crashing spawn as well to try to support Leaf. And it's just softened up the A side of the defense. Really good macro adjustments from Fnatic's coaches.
All grouped up now from Fnatic though. Trying to push players off away from A rubble and just trying to take it slowly, steadily, but still that's bullets raining down. Jonah P is there. Nightfall preemptive, and that's going to be a tag onto absolutely everyone. It's the information they were looking for. You see him push it out by G2 across the board.
Toxin screen down.
Leaf, he's tucked himself in.
It's a dangerous spot as well for Chronicle. He gets support from Alpha yeah now, but he's the one with the spike.
Now broken. Leaf will respect it. Off onto the corner. This is 25 seconds left. Where is this ending?
Boaster's trying to fake as if it's ended towards B. I think the spike should be headed to A. And that means Jonah has a chance for redemption after his failed play in Tree in the last round.
Spike's disjointed though. They've already got players in and through. G2 looking to try and flood defend this one all the way. Dimensional drift spots it all out. No guessing game whatsoever. 9 seconds and it's all dropped down. It's all crumbled. Fnatic, Chronicle. It's cheeky with the kills, consolation prizes at the end of the day, but it's not a round win. That's what Fnatic were looking for.
Second time in this half that G2 have won based on the clock. And you won't see any other team in the tournament that loses as often as Fnatic. The EMEA teams do tend to be slower.
Spike down.
But Fnatic, honestly, they take it to a whole different level. And they're getting punished here. Trying to work the map as much as they possibly can, but not taking the right risks at the right time to try to push things forwards. And G2 have knocked the economy down of Fnatic. No, they decided to go for the force buy. They've got everything up here. Fnatic's eco is still doing all right. But 3 of the players are on light armor.
Investing into it. Salvage towards the back of rubble. Fnatic are grouped up though. Flash overhead. No signs of life from what G2 can see.
Yeah, passive kind of setup. Not looking to go for the reclear, the refight, G2.
Toxins going up.
But why would they need to? I mean, Leaf has still got pretty good information over towards Mound. Jonah P is getting them info on B as well. They're set up quite nicely right now for an A or B finish.
Paranoia is going to be sweeping through, dissecting this B site. Go either way though. Okay, lockdown. Drop down into the corner now. One salvo is going to be weakening it, but not enough damage to really do the job. They clear most of the way here for Fnatic.
This plant is almost destined to go down, and my eyes immediately go to this flank that's coming around the back. Leaf might have an opportunity, but it's going to be so difficult inside Chronicle's pit.
And look at a draw for G2 to try and play retake into this one. A bit of random spam perhaps. Fnatic should be set up to bring it level once more to the post plant. Util is even available. Again, it's bullets raining down. Not much cover. Fnatic will take it. Paranoia nade, ricocheting, rebounding. Tons of util at their disposal here. They've completely shut G2 out of the picture. It's a straight kill from Leaf.
They're also going to do crazy economic damage to Fnatic because they're just essentially trapping them in the site. One escape path found though from Crashies and Kayak, so at least 3 guns are going to be maintained here. G2 never really committed to that one. Definitely felt like there was more opportunities for G2 to go for spam, to try to get inside the pit and make something of it. But when Jorg got shut down, kind of gave up the ghost. And Fnatic draw things level again at 10-10. It's actually a rough buy here for G2. Guardian for Jorgamo. Valen only with a stinger.
Might be
And a
seeing
big
signs
brawl.
of it. Yeah, big brawl. Signs of it. It's a season and nade. Jorg's TP just not in time to save him there. Kayak, a wonderful opener.
Seen that previously too. Jorg, he tried to go for the teleport in the moment, but was just a little too slow on it. That's a great start for Fnatic. I think they've really struggled with the opening kills.
Very proactive from G2, looking to try and push all the way out of Rubble. Using a paranoia, even expending it, but this is being held all the way further back. Crossfire setups. I think good for them, and G2 realized that would be an overextension.
I think all of that pressure, though, that was on the flank, as G2 pressured forwards, it actually pulled the defenders back, and it allowed Leaf to get set up on C properly.
Jonath's still staying around. There's going to be smokes on smokes. Hiding the intent of Fnatic. Has to be respected. Horn's not going to be broken.
Drop the spike.
He's still going to be sticking around here with 40 seconds left.
Trent has salvos, and he has the ult to be able to work with. Boaster needs to call for them to accelerate at some point here.
Tempo needs to be increased.
He's trying to bait out the salvo or the ult, but this spike is miles away still.
25 seconds left.
Surely this isn't going to be another round lost to the clock.
You're only just making a move over towards it. G2 still have bodies over towards you. Jonath's going to be hearing most of this, and that's the Armageddon. As soon as doors opened up, a slightest of pockets to play inside. And all the way forwards, Jonath has to be that line of defense. Moving now, 8 seconds remaining to G2. Reinforcing the site. Still time left. Alfie is going to try and defend this one. Defend it, he will. Plant is down. Wincon potentially there. Alpha! All in his hands!
What a ridiculous round from Fnatic. I don't think they should have ever been able to get that one across the line, but it's individuals that power their way through with the clock all against them. Yes, they got the early kill and set themselves up in a decent spot, but they were just barreling towards the site, desperate to try to get something going. And again, the superstar, I think, is Alpha, yeah. Defending crashes. Leaf a little too slow to be able to deny. And then Alpha, he wins that 1v1 towards the end, even with Leaf holding for it. Josh is not happy about that. G2 have taken a attack timeout instantly afterwards. 3 situations where the clock has been bad for Boaster, and 1 recovered. Chronicle and Alpha, yeah, the players that have been by Boaster's side through thick and thin, winning multiple tournaments with it. 26-13 for Chronicle, 23-14 for Alpha, yeah. Everybody else on Fnatic, negative. I mean, Chron and Alpha are trying to deadlift Fnatic through this game.
The backbone. And this entire map has been on a knife's edge all the way through. Fnatic, though, the ones finding it. Potentially the straw that breaks the camel's back if you are G2.
Yeah, I think that could be the round that you look back on that really made the difference. Josh is expending his timeout, maybe expecting not to get a chance for another one, frankly, because G2, it was a bold pick taking Fnatic to Lotus, but they may have been punished. Losing both pistols and not being able to stop them on the clock there. Valen steps up with a stinger to try to see if they can win a miracle round and draw things level again.
Gonna make this out, Leaf. Indeed, catches the Prowler. Leaves Valen inserted. Tiptoeing around the map, though, from Fnatic. They're gonna be looking to see if they can re-clear out towards C-Mount. Satchel across. With the rifles here, ooh, Valen barely able there to escape and exit. Drone used for a bit more information. G2 just trying to clear up most of the map. Fnatic, slow game of theirs. Definitely applies the pressure evenly here to G2.
And 2 players posted up towards Rubble. I'm not sure whether Alpha's calling for them to go back towards B. No, it looks like the spike's going to make its way towards this setup from Jorg and from Jonah. There's a seize.
All broken. Jorgamo respects it. Okay, Gatecrash is probably running out.
Placing swarm grenade.
I mean, at this point, G2 are just trying to play the clock again. 30 seconds. You have C's, you have flashes.
Giving to delay.
30 seconds left.
It's up to Fnatic to try and get a move on here. There's a round you cannot afford to lose. Not against the weaker weaponry, G2. Sidestep, Nightfall, going to be avoided, at least for now. Util flying forward, sees not quite a connection. Paranoia sweeps forwards, Boaster's there, ready to take the fight and lay claim to most of this site. He needs some help when he's at it. Kayak drifting into it, trying to take the fight straight to them. It's a bloodbath up towards heaven. One away from the ult. Kayak is going to be happy with that, and the last one spotted out, rooted out.
Toxins going up.
If we just look to do some damage here, and Kayak's been set up perfectly. Showstopper for round 23.
That shows you that the composure is still there for Fnatic. Not getting rattled towards the end, still trying to optimize even the smallest bits. And that could be an ultimate that's a game changer and stops G2 from being able to pull off a comeback. Both of these teams have got good mentals. But G2 are going to need 2 really clean rounds here, even against the ult coming out from Kayak. Jorg and Trent have been really good at denying value from Kayak's ultimate when the sides were swapped. But I think a Showstopper is exactly the right kind of tool to complement Boaster's slower calling style, because it will allow you just to open up the sights towards the end of the rounds.
Toxins
Managing
going
to
up.
speed up entirely. G2, they don't want to be budged.
Toxin screen down.
Draining themselves here. Leaf and Valin out towards C-Mount. Stray shots forwards, but now here's the pressure. Prowler broken. Stray shots, you know that Valin's sticking around. Leaf. Valin eventually going to concede that space and give it up. On either side is a deep drone and a deep push. G2 getting active over towards A.
Alpha, yeah, has a little bit of an opening on B. But this fight over towards A could define the round. Alpha's in on B.
Yep, Alpha is completely cracked over the B side, and now putting a squeeze, a pincer play over towards A. All that aggression of G2 was just dissipated. They're the ones left scrambling. Showstopper down. Just tagging into the clone. Jorgman will get it, but Crashies is there. Cleans it up. 3 players left to stand here. Boaster with the plan is going to be sticking this safety in the back of his mind, because Crashies is watching it all. Leaf slipped his way in. Found that timing and that gap. This is it, surely. Fnatic on the cusp, on the brink of taking map 1. G2's map pick, it's all on to Leaf. 6 bullets left, timing not there. It's a 13-10 to finish here for our opener between these 2 juggernauts.
And it's a deadly duo for Fnatic to finish things off. Alpha and Chronicle, the last left alive to pull Fnatic over the line. A brilliant opening map from both of those players. But it took everything, double pistols and some big moments against the clock to be able to push Fnatic over the line. But that's on G2's map pick of Lotus.
Now we look forward to the split. Fnatic's choice of territory. Already with a map under their belt, they can feel it. There's momentum behind this team. A chance to really carve out your spot in history. We're going to be stepping away. Up next, GB and the analyst desk will be breaking it all down.
Right, who are we hitting up first with a super fight? Jorgamo with a super fight is coming in 100% from Bray. Super fight. Right, who is Trent? Where is he? There he is. Right. I'm cranking it. Superfly! Valin. Oh, I feel like I need to IGL diff Superfly. I'm hitting him with the foot. Superfly!
Face your death, cause you play the roulette with each step I progress, no less. Go ahead and place your bets, cause we know where we at, we know we top tier. Cause all the hate that you bring, we know it stops here. I'm taking off like a rocketeer and stopping here. It's strange how they cannot see the future but see profit here. Wait up, we gon' always win. Promise that that's not a promise, yeah, that is a threat. You know that I promise to bring the team commas. When the whole team win, that's when you flex. Win, and I'ma do it again. Watch me win, then watch me do it again.
gives you wings.
Hey.
Let me show you how the Fox does.
Oh man, I was just getting warmed up.
Spike defused.
Don't play with your karma. Don't do it with a kink in your armor. Don't do it. Don't fake like an actor. Don't do it. Tell a lie to your pastor. Don't do it. Focus like a laser. Focus when you leap from the rafters. When you leap, better off going harder. Going harder. You don't wanna be a martyr. You don't want when you flirt with disaster. When you flirt with this. When you flirt with this. When you flirt with this. Don't steal from your brother. Don't do it. It might tear what you're after. It might tear. Prepare for the danger. Prepare when you call out your master. Call him out. Don't trust in a stranger. Don't do it. Get killed if you capture. Get killed. Sabotage in the parlor. You don't wanna be a martyr. When you flirt with disaster. 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 When you flirt with disaster.
What a start that was for Fnatic. I'm now joined by their coach, Milan. Now, both of you had to make a lot of adaptations on the fly. What, in your opinion, was the most effective adjustment that you made that gave you that win?
I think during the timeouts we told the boys to stay calm, focus on like what they're giving us and just processing information a little bit better, and I think it made all the difference after that.
Oh, it did indeed. Thank you very much for your time.
Welcome back, everyone. As we look to break everything down, we have a special guest here. Put your hands together for Coach Kaplan of Sentinels. Good to have you here, brother.
Thanks,
Good,
man.
as
Happy
always.
to be here.
So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Cap's going to be here to help us out and guide us through the game. And first things first, let's actually talk about what the coach of Fnatic was talking about in that interview there, Mimi, because he said, hey, I needed to keep the boys calm and ready to go, and we saw the results of that in that round 18.
Yeah, absolutely. The adaptations, Kaplan, from this team, they had such a great sequence of different attack side ideas of how they approached that.
Yeah, they had a hard time fighting G2's comp head-on, and after this timeout here, you can see they just make some light noise, a fake TP and a smoke, a classic Boaster smoke. Kind of keeps G2 occupied a little. Then they go back, re-clear the C side, come back A. Just started to take the game a little bit less head-on, and I really feel like the next few rounds built the story. They did it again. Then they kind of snuck out A together, and then they just took a head-on fight. And I think it really speaks to Boaster's IGLing, that he was able to take that timeout and just keep building on it.
Yeah, because we were talking about that a little bit, right? Like, a lot of people always are giving big credit to the coaches coming out of the timeout and what game plan they did, but there's always going to be different things. Your opponents do different ults that come online. It is really difficult for an IGL to kind of perfectly sequence those rounds together, even with input from a coach.
Yeah, exactly. It's just really, really impressive.
Yeah, and let's not forget, too, Jonah P had an opportunity to get a nasty 2K in that situation, and unfortunately was shooting cotton candy at his opponent, and it was like, oh, get this off of me, and then they just shot him, and then that was it. Which, those heartbreaker rounds, man, those are the things you do not want to see happen. But that does take us to our HyperX Reflex moment here, because this one's on the other side of the field, Mimi, with G2's Valen. This is what you want to see from the team more consistently as we get ready for map 2.
On the attack side, G2 had to see, seems to have a read about finishing B in a lot of these rounds. Almost every time it felt like on this attacking side, they were getting posted into post plants on this site. And this team, even without peak Teo, which is what a lot of people attributed their post-plant success to, they are still such an incredible team at setting up in these kind of rounds. Here, it's some incredible shots from Valen, but Trent on the nerf Teo, balancing his utility. The way guys like Valen and Leaf are repositioning means that G2 is one of those squads that is shutting down the retake so often. And Fnatic, one of the teams in this tournament who is trying to retake the most. So a challenge for them to get back in on this G2 team.
Yeah, just insane. I mean, just in a spot like that, Valen just has nothing to do but move his crosshair around. He's in the middle of nowhere, and he really knows how to close it out.
Yeah, truly finding ways to succeed, but it was not going to be enough there. Fnatic managed to squeak them out there. Now we're going to hear from the coach of G2 as we get ready for map 2.
We're moving on to map 2, and G2 have a chance to redeem themselves. Now, Leaf was such a nuisance, as he always is, on map 1. I think Fnatic really struggled to deal with him. What kind of role can we expect on map 2?
I think it's more of the same. I noticed that Fnatic likes to enable their best players to really shine and take their duels, like Alpha. Took a little inspiration of that. I'm like, hey, Leaf, you should go contest them. You know, like if they're gonna take the space, I want you to put them down. So, yeah, I mean, we're just greenlighting him a little bit more, and we'll see what happens.
I look forward to seeing it. Good luck on map 2.
I do love to hear what he's saying there, because Leaf to me felt so strong when he was taking those risks. When he was playing as a C-Anchor Kaplan, he was constantly walking back into space and finding a ton of success there.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking the op up on Viper, like constantly had the info. Even after getting a pick, he would find a way to get back on that line and be able to say, hey guys, they're not coming to C. Don't worry about C. Just look out for that A hit.
But to that point that he was talking about Alfier, though, that's exactly what we were seeing from him, man. He was going for those plays, going for those fights, Mimi. And it did feel like Alfier, with that confidence, it's very hard if you're Fnatic to like be like, hey, you know what, guys, we got to play off of that. We got to feed this energy here, because Alfier is giving that to them in spades.
You absolutely do. Kaplan, I mean, Fnatic plays a bit of a weirder comp with this double duelist, the Yoru, the Raze. Talk the viewers through what should they expect out of this comp going into map 2?
Yeah, they have a lot of different looks here. They're able to move the Viper Lurk around to different spots. Sometimes they throw a really neat orb mid that makes some pressure. They can go fast, they can go slow, but they do have to respect the G2 Breach. They should have a little bit of a hard time fighting head-on for any space against the Breach, kind of similar to Lotus, actually.
Yeah, it's gonna be big. G2, lot staking on this game. They lost in Champions to this team 0-2, got sent home by them after the amazing tournament they had at Shanghai, and it would be a really similar story again, making it to the finals in Bangkok. If they were to go home here in top 4, it would definitely be a disappointment for those boys at G2.
Oh, without a doubt, and you can see Fnatic taking their time with this agent select, having the conversations that they need as they get ready for this map 2. Could very well be the end of G2's story here in Toronto. Toronto, do you think that's going to be the case here? Oh, a lot of no's. Who do you guys think we're going to map 3? I think people just want to watch more Valorant. here at the Enercare Center. That's the most important thing now, Mimi. But G2 need to dig deep if they want to unseat this Fnatic team.
They absolutely do. They pulled off that incredible comeback the other day against Gen G. Had to dig deep to stay in this tournament. But Fnatic, a great team, going into another map where they are comfortable on. They are on a 5-map win streak here on Split. So it is going to be a challenge, even for a team with the tenacity that G2 has.
Coach Kaplan. Now, obviously, you're coach of the Sentinels in this situation, but let's say you're coach of G2 in this scenario. What are you telling the boys? What are you thinking about as you get ready for this game?
Yeah, hey guys, remember what we talked about? Remember what we planned? There's no doubt they know what they need to do here. They already played PaperX, playing a similar comp on Split. They've got the experience. They've had time to review. They just have to make sure they stay trusting their ideas, despite the fact that their tournament life is on the line.
Kaplan, you've played long series against G2 this year. You know this is a really hard team to put down, even when you win a map early like that.
Yeah, it is really tough. They know how to stay composed no matter what, and then you start making mistakes, and they just watch you make them.
But you know what I have to lean on, though, is the fact that on the other side of the field, you got Boaster, who's just been getting up and taunting his opponents nonstop. And that has to be so infuriating to play against, Coach.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. I mean, I can only imagine for the players who are up there, but when you're constantly reminded of the opposing team's confidence, it just makes it really hard.
And bringing that energy for him. He's so comfortable in these positions, had to come back when they've won trophies in the past. Missed out on even going to Bangkok. Now an opportunity to make it top 3 here in Toronto as that final EMEA team. Everyone else from that region out in the group stage. Went home early in this tournament. But Fnatic staying in it despite the roster changes, despite bringing a rookie player into this tournament.
Do want to inform everyone, a little bit of a technical hiccup on the stage. We're going to get that sorted in just a little bit. So you'll stick with us for the time being, a little podcast. You know, you can't complain about that. Wait a minute, just got told I'm a liar. We're going into the game, everybody. Let's dive into the action. Toronto, make some noise for Brent and Sideshow.
We're going to need to see G2 dig deep, show that resilience that allowed them to come back versus Gen G. They're going to stand a chance against this Fnatic squad because both of these teams are aiming for greatness at this event. Both of them are looking to go that much further.
Jonah P, though, quoted as saying very recently, it's going to be a complete failure if we lose now, a disappointment. We're already thinking about the finals, and I think that just less pressure and more their own team's expectations. They want redemption for Bangkok. But Fnatic stands in the way.
It's apparent. Okay, fault line. Alpha has found a pocket to play in. Even on this angle. Nothing crazy, though, from Fnatic.
They're expecting the reclear.
And expected they will at least be rewarded. Alpha is lying in wait. Jumps on the chance. Now TP going to be laid in towards the back of that site.
I mean, it's a perfect read there. Really good control. They know exactly what G2 are going to go for. And now they've got themselves a 5v4. And Fnatic are never going to overrush in these kind of situations. They can sit back, play the player advantage. Even allow Chronicle maybe to work a little bit of pressure over towards A and try to pull people off this hard anchor position.
Fnatic just trying to keep G2 guessing. Jonah P holding down that fault line. It's going to have to contact a Leaf who's holding from the high ground.
Full Fade utility and being dumped right now over towards A to try to pull people. There's only 2 now ready to defend B.
There it is. It's going to be sailing up and over towards it. Exchanged evenly, but out of satchels in hand. Alpha.
That's a great shot.
Straight into the fray. Leaf is there. Right, so back with the flash is even better. Jonah P is going to do a lot from this spot. And Trent does supplement. There's still a player disadvantage for them. Time running short. How do you get yourself in through the back of this?
The heaven lurk.
And lurk is what they're waiting for. That's on the timing. Crashes just laying around towards the side. And he's already dropped down, but he wasn't expecting it. Trent, he has to live. If he stays alive, he's won the round. Trent! Absolutely ridiculous.
That's an unbelievable way of the pistol round to finish. Trent is completely surrounded. Got his opponent Fade lurking through heaven. Should have been an absolute wrap, but they lost track of where he was. They knew that he'd been over towards spawn. And I think Crashies was searching for him, didn't realize. He was just tucked right behind that box. He didn't even need the final kill, but he gave us it anyway.
Nice! That's pretty absurd, because I think Fnatic should have been able to wrap that one up and win 3 out of 3 pistols so far. But G2 rewrite the narrative.
He's skipping past a lot of this util is going to be the Prowler. Kayak taking that space. Stray shots fired down. That Bulldog, not exactly the weapon of choice here, but with the horns followed up. Leaf is here. Fill in the gaps of the defense.
Oh, and the C's into the snakebite combo to give Leaf a third. Leaf now actually going to be approaching a Viper's Pit. He's able to clean up the rest of these players.
Looking for the last few. Spots it out. Chronicles drop 2 of them. Spike accessible to a degree, but Valen is quick to recover.
That's what Leaf, a really big anti-eco round for him, gets very close to the Viper's Pit. Not going to have it online for this bonus, but could be a difference maker early on in a crucial rifle round, especially if G2 can do a little bit of damage in this next to the Fnatic economy. A rare, quick round as well. Fnatic taking a lot of ramp control very early on. But you're expecting, again, quite a lot of these rounds, even with the double duelist, to be slow paced from Fnatic on their attack side. I know Kaplan on the desk was talking about the fact that G2 got some experience playing against double duelist compositions, but PaperX and Fnatic are pretty much as far apart as you can play the same comp.
And the bait setup. Alpha just trying to swing off of that, catching onto the jump peak.
He did get an aim punch as well. That was a Phantom 140 headshot. But I'm really interested in this battle over towards B main. You see it here from Kayak and Jorg, just kind of feeling each other out. On the pistol round, Jorg got baited into walk re-clearing B main. But B main control is super important in the current meta.
Smokes propped up, recalled. We're going to be left guessing. There's haunts and action occurring onto every extremity right now. Pushing Chronicle out of the path. Jorgamo looking to potentially take a fight here. Knife out for Kayak. Oh my, that's unfortunate timing.
I mean, that's a weird decision as well, isn't it? Leaf versus Chronicle. Yeah. Chronicle gets the better end of it after Valen had already retreated. And now Valen's alone and isolated on the A side with the Paranoia as his best friend.
That's to anchor single-handedly. Reinforcements arriving in the form of Trent, but he doesn't really have a weapon to his name. It's the classic and a bit of Utah. They can hear it now. Smokes are going to start to be laid down, blossoming. Haunt reveals. And not even the exit for Valen. Just trying to TP out of it, but just opened his body up wide for it. So Fnatic, methodical approach towards it. Trying to hold back the onslaught now that G2 are trying to dish out. No one is ready for Alpha.
Yeah, that's a nice cleanup from Fnatic. Really good positioning too. Even if Alpha hadn't been able to close out with 3 kills, Boaster's waiting in vents as a backstab. They've set up that round really nicely here. Fnatic are so good at their attack side macro. I know we're watching a little bit of a mistake here from Kayak, but he has some B main information. Chronicle controls the other side of the map. And in the meantime, the rest of the pack is working their way up mid, getting a heaven control, and just slowly pushing back G2. G2 at some point in these slow rounds are going to have to fight to re-clear. And that always comes with a bit of danger.
Straight back into it.
Once more, same 1-3-1 setup from the attackers, right? Kayak holding on.
Heavy premium, just spotting the cross-up. Jorgamo will have to respect that.
And that's great information from Kayak. He saw that teleport. He knows that Jorgamo's gone back into a more passive position.
Trying to square up towards it. What a shot!
Jorg has just decided to take the fight to Kayak. Might be a bit of an experience diff happening here.
Head clean off the shoulder. Kayak's got to be watching from the spectator seat, but Chronicle's been good for it so far. Pressure up towards B Heaven though. Alpha is ahead of it, finds the gap. Time to be taken. Seize though, avoided.
It is a nice seize though, because it gets Jonah P back onto the line.
So much pressure happening. Both. Oh no, no, no.
Spike down mid.
It's not ideal.
He's just gifted them the spike.
The spike dropped down.
I mean, that I don't think was even. I think that was just supposed to be fake pressure anyway. Kron might have done enough.
To be the savior for him. Leaf, judge in hand. Lets it loose and lets it rip. So putting a bit of fear into them, putting the squeeze now into Leaf, and a bit of spam chopping him down. Leaf
20 seconds.
At the knees, 20 seconds, scrambling, dashing.
Spike down mid.
And is leaving it just down to Crashies. A spike essentially unretrievable. 3-1 for G2.
Big fumble in that round from Fnatic, from Boaster. Like I said, I'm not sure if they thought the vent was completely clear and they were just trying to make a drop noise to fake a pivot into A and go back to B, or whether Boaster really wanted to try to take vent and just didn't have a teammate with him. But either way, you can't make a mistake like that when you're already a slow-paced team. And clearly the Fnatic coaches are not happy about it either, because we're about to go into a tactical timeout. And so, coming off the back of this, I mean, there was a great tac timeout on Lotus. The Des talked about it as well. That adjustment in the second half, the coaches took the timeout, Boaster adjusted some things, and Fnatic were able to close out on map 1. Here, this is very early on. It's probably more to do with adjusting the tempo, or maybe one of the coaches has got a read on what G2 specifically are doing on the defense side. But I think there's a couple of things to just calm down here for Fnatic. Kayak's kind of getting diffed and making a couple of mistakes in terms of anticipating the aggression of Jorgamo. Jorg's just caught him on a couple of timings. And obviously we've just witnessed that fumble from Boaster dropping the spike in vent, so not sure whether it's nerves. It looked like the confidence was high for Fnatic, to be honest, on map 1.